We're here with Dr. Jason Nicholas. He is the Preventive Vet, and he's also known as Dr. J. I don't know if he plays basketball or not, but we're also here with Pet Safety Cat Casey. And it's a big deal, guys. Well, thank you, Case. It's a big deal sometimes. Our dogs or cats are looking real punkish, and we feel like we need to induce vomiting. We're here with the good doctor to talk about the scenarios that are safe and when you should never do that.
Yeah. So if you think that, if you've seen or you think that your pet has eaten something that they shouldn't have, you might be inclined to try and make them vomit. I will tell you that typically with cats, you can't make them vomit at home. Cats are cats, and they vomit on their own time, and typically on your nicest carpet or on your bed or something like that. But honestly, even in the clinic, we sometimes have trouble making cats vomit. So peroxide, and actually giving peroxide to a cat can cause ulcers, like bleeding, ruptured ulcers, so you just never want to do that. Talk to your vet before even attempting to do anything to make a cat vomit, and again, you'll probably be unsuccessful anyway. As far as dogs, same type of thing. You always want to talk to your vet or an emergency vet or one of the animal-specific poison control hotlines before trying to make your dog vomit. For a couple of reasons. One is that if it's been longer than about an hour or two, making them vomit probably isn't going to create the decontamination that you want anyway. Also, if they are already vomiting, you don't need to make them vomit anymore. If they're staggering, if there's any way that they might not be able to protect their airway, if they're neurologically not appropriate, you definitely don't want to make them vomit, because then it's much more likely it's going to get into their lungs and set them up for aspiration pneumonia. So that's a no-no. And then there's also some things that dogs eat, actually unfortunately semi-regularly, that if you bring it back up, you're more likely to cause more damage. So think things like batteries or...
So if they chewed your TV remote.
Totally, or even like your key fob for your alarm or something like that. If they've licked up certain household cleaning chemicals and things of that nature, you don't want it coming back up, because it can destroy their esophagus and again, wind up back down their lungs. So always check with your vet, or poison control or an emergency vet. And also in the clinic, we have access to better, more reliable medications. One, to actually create the vomiting, and then two, to stop it. Because
Good.
Once you start it, you want to be able to stop it. And you may also then need additional care after that. So always check with your vet beforehand. Good idea to have peroxide on hand. If they say, yeah, go ahead, give some peroxide and watch. But also, you don't want to use peroxide to clean wounds, ideally.
Right, we've been on a big campaign, never use hydrogen peroxide for external wounds, because?
Yeah. Well, because it actually, ironically, while it's killing all those little bugs and stuff, it's also destroying the very epithelial cells that you need to start regenerating and healing that wound. So hydrogen peroxide is contraindicated for cleaning external wounds on pets.
So how do we find out more about you and what you're doing?
So you can find out a ton about me, probably more than you want to know, on preventivevet.com, as well as a lot of this information. We actually have an article on not using hydrogen peroxide. So preventivevet.com, tons of additional information. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you name it, but come check it out.
Let's do a close-up of, This is the cat version, but he also has dog version.
Yep, so this is the feline version of the 101 Essential Tips, Cat Health and Safety. We also have the canine version, and then we also have a dog behavior training tips book, 101 Essential Tips there, that just came out as well.
And I think Casey gives purrs of approval.
Yeah.